What's going on, guys, and welcome back to Prominence 2, and today we are going to be embarking on what's hopefully going to be the start of our digital storage. So down here I've just been we ended last episode sorting out the power supply for down here, and I've just been doing bits and pieces, crafting up a whole bunch of different processors. So if we get our bag out, we're going to need these guys, probably going to need you, and you. And we've been crafting a whole bunch of logic processors, engineering processors, the calculation processors as well. So we've got a whole bunch of them already sorted, and I've been crafting up a whole bunch more logics. If you're wondering how comes I'm crafting so many logics, it's because I want to make a whole bunch of the 16K ME storage. I also had to go get a bunch of glowstone, which was a bit of a nuisance. Quartz glass isn't too bad. We've got a bunch of glass on us, and we've got a bunch of deserted quartz dust. I crafted up a whole bunch of cables, so we can got that covered, and took ages getting the wool and the dyes for that. It's always a nightmare. But I did start practicing using this crystal fixer, but it doesn't actually get the budding certus quartz up to the flawless, which is when it isn't the flawless. Like, you've got flawed, chipped, damaged. They sort of degrade over time as you let the crystals grow. So the only way of getting a flawless is if you find a flawless budding one inside one of the meteorites, and we will be doing that at some point using the spatial storage, these guys here, to actually teleport a flawless one over here and have that grow in the crystals for us. Because at the moment I've blown through pretty much all of our supply of emeralds in order to buy all of the crystals and the fluix crystals that we've been using so far. But nevertheless, let's jump into this. What we want to do first of all is get the controllers, these guys. So how many of these are we going to need? I want a ring of them. Essentially I want to build like a cuboid of them here, which is completely unnecessary and overkill, but it's something I'm going to want to do mainly for the aesthetics of it. But yeah, nevertheless, it's going to take some time to do that. So I just want to get one simple ring of them done first of all. So we are going to need one, what is it? So 5, 10, 20, 24 by the looks of it. How many can we craft? 1, 24. 3 and 4. Awesome. So we've got 24 controllers. We are going to have to start moving all of this stuff. So where's our pick? Break you, break you, break you. Why is my magnet not picking these guys up? Stupid thing. Okay, so then we want to break you, get our... We're going to want another energy acceptor as well. So we want you there, and then you are going to be powering our ring of controllers. Is my math completely off, or am I right? I was right. Happy days there. Okay, so now that we've got that, we are then going to want to craft some drives, ME drives. We can craft them because we've got fluix cable. How many can we craft? Probably going to want, say, 4 of these to start off with. So our drive area can go over this side here. So if we say 1, 2, 3 and 4, and then we're going to want the cable buried 2 below. Also, I forgot that I disabled my shaders. Can we enable them? Video, shader packs, enable, apply. See if it crashes my game or not. And yep. Crashed. Alright, so we're back with shaders enabled. I don't know why it does that. It's like the shader for some reason is causing a memory leakage issue. So if I have the game running for a certain amount of time with the shaders running, it just craps out on me, and I have absolutely no idea why. Crap. So if we do... I did want them to actually go lower, but we've got the energy cable running lower, so if we go do that. Now each one of these dense cables can carry 32 channels, and I'll explain the channels. So every single device, so a ME drive is a device, so they will count as one each, so this will be 4, and I can sort of show you them go active as I put them in. We do this, do that, and then we can use have we got any cable anchors? I do apologise for the music. It is not me doing it. That's applied. These guys. How the hell do I make that? What am I missing? Sticks, Certis quartz, and iron. I do not have sticks on me apparently. There we go. And then, is it iron? Yeah, cable anchors. 32. This just stops it creating like an infinite loop, so if we then have one of you go there, and then we're going to want to grab our cable anchor and then separate it so it doesn't do the same thing there, and then another one there, cable anchor, so there, and then this one here. So this will now show 4 channels out of 32 being used, and that's because these devices are now online. So what we then want to do is start creating the actual drives for them. So what we want is say 16k drives. So we want 16k storage components, which means how many of them do we want? Probably want 1, 2, 3, 4, say 5 to start off with. So 5, so we need 15 of these 4Ks, which means we need what's that, 15 times 3? 35? No, 45 there. So 45 of these 1Ks. Wow, we need more redstone, I think. Do this. Then we go back down the little skill tree? No, crafting tree. So we need 45 of these. Just to start ourselves off with. 45. Do that so it just unlocks the advancement or the progression. And then we're going to want need to keep my bag open. How many of these can we craft? So 15 of the 4Ks. And then what are we missing? I think it's quartz, glass. So let's grab, say, a whole bunch of this. Thank you. There we go. Got 5 of the 16k storage components, and then we want the ME casing, so 5 drives. Yay! Okay. So that is going to give us a decent amount of space, but we need to remember, why is that only 4? Where am I missing one? Yeah. There we go. We need to remember that we've only can fit 63 different types of items in each one of these storage cells. So we're going to avoid putting any non-stackables whatsoever in our storage system. By the way, this ghost is freaking jarring. What are you doing, guy? Stupid freaking ghost. Alright, so we've got them. So now we want to make the crafting monitor. So ME crafting terminal. Which means we need ME terminals, which means we need formation cores. And once again, bag needs to be freaking open. So you just make... Oh, god damn it, we need quartz. How do I not have quartz on me? Usually always have quartz in my pocket. I also need to sort out because I'm running slow, so one of my bags needs to be put away. You, I don't need on me. Quartz. I know that I've got a storage thing here. There we go. Get a couple of stacks of quartz from that. Okay, so we want to open you, and then into one. Probably makes a few of these because they are using quite a lot. They are what, the annihilation, which means we need the formation ones as well. So let's just get 12 of you, and then we want to make the illumination panel. How the hell? Okay, there we go. Let's make a couple of them because we're going to want a few different monitors. And then we've got our ME terminal. Do that. Yeah, I don't know what is considered like an unlock or not. So we need the crafting table. Why are you just doing weird things? So we want a crafting table, and then put the crafting terminal. Happy days there. A much bigger table. And so if we just type in terminal, we can actually see all the different ones that we can make. So we've got the pattern encoding, crafting, normal ME, and the ME pattern access terminal. So we definitely want the pattern encoding one. Do that. And then we're going to want the pattern access terminal as well. How the hell do we make that? Pattern provider, ME. We're missing crafting benches again. They are using quite a lot, so we're just going to make a whole bunch. Do this, do that, then do one of these, and then we can do one of them. Hold on. Do that. Just in case we need it. Head on back over to our ME area. And then what I want to do is bring, say, this cable back. Do I want it there, or I think I want it just one higher, don't I, really? Do this, then run our dense cable there, with our smart cable up to there, and then bring it forward by one, like so. And then we want our terminals. Where are you? 2 and where's our other one gone? So we've got the pattern encoding, pattern access. Where's our crafting terminal? Am I being blind? Put you there, you there. Am I being intentionally thick here? So, there are panels. I didn't put it in a chest or something, did I? Hopefully I haven't. I was being thick. Apparently I used it in the crafting recipe to make the pattern encoding terminal. So we're going to have to make another crafting one. So we need another ME terminal. And then crafting terminal. Yeah, just me being a little bit special. I didn't realise, I thought it was all of them just use the illuminated panels. But yeah, apparently the pattern encoding uses the crafting one. So now we've got our crafting terminal. And then this we want on the extended view. Terminal. There we go, just so we can see that. And then this way we can actually now start storing a whole bunch of stuff, and as you can see, when you put stuff in, it will then tell you it's using so many bytes of so many types that you've put in there, which is awesome. So if we just throw a whole bunch of the stuff that we're using for crafting into here, sticks you can go in there. The printed logic circuit ones, because they're not the completed circuits, I don't really want to put them in there yet. But the majority of all of this stuff can be thrown in there for us to continue our crafts. So what I'm going to do is sort a whole bunch more of the stuff into here and just see where we are, and then we can continue crafting via this panel instead. So yeah, give me a sec to sort of fill up some of these. I didn't realise it showed you some of the types that are in there, but yeah, catch you back in a sec. Alright, so we've got a whole bunch of that stuff in here now. Over 1,000 that. Can we do sort by number of items? I want that descending. So you go from the highest amount of items and we sort of work our way down, just so we can see what we've got a lot of and what we need more of as we go. So that is the sort of core part of the storage system sorted. What we want to do is sort of get the crafters done, which means we're going to want I forgot how we set this up. Is it like 2 crafting units, 2 co-processing, and then a bunch of the crafting storage? We're going to need a whole bunch of iron. So what I'm going to do is craft up a bunch of this stuff in order to get these sort of set up. And then we're going to have to run some more cables, and we can have like crafting units on either side of the room. So yeah, let me do the crafting and get these guys into place. And I just want to get a couple of units because we're not completely inundated with the resources like diamonds and stuff in order to craft that many of them. We are going to have sort of limited capacity as to what we can do with it. So we're going to want processors on one side and the actual molecular assemblers and stuff on the other side. So these guys also on the other side, so we are going to need a whole butt ton of iron, which luckily we have actually got a whole butt ton. So yeah, after I've done this and got these into place, I'll bring you back. Alright, so I do believe I now got pretty much all of the core infrastructure in place. So we've got the 16K crafting storage cells or units, and then we've got the crafting co-processing unit, and then we've just got crafting monitors. So these are the things that actually process the crafters, well, the crafting themselves, and these can be expanded. So if you was crafting up something that says uses more than 16,000 different items or processes in one single craft, these storage things will not be enough. So you can like expand them so they could do 128 to 256 and go up incrementally like that. These are the molecular assemblers and ME interfaces. The ME interfaces are what holds the patterns for the normal shaped crafting. By shaped crafting, I mean anything that's crafted inside of like a crafting grid sort of pattern. These things are what do it, and the molecular assemblers are what acts like the actual crafting tables themselves. So they're connected via these cables here, and each one of them takes a channel. So we're currently using 12 out of 32 channels on that line. That is right, 4, 8, 12, 6. Is it because you... Oh, okay, I think this should actually be using more. Oh no, the molecular assemblers don't use channels, these do. The ME interfaces, so it's only counting 6 per thing, so it is 12. So that is all correct. And then what we want to do is actually craft some empty patterns. So blank patterns, which is glowstone. Glowstone is going to be an issue. Because it's using quite a lot of different crafting recipes. So yeah, that's gonna be probably a nightmare. So what we can do now is that's the pattern terminal. This is where we set our patterns. So if we put our blank patterns up there, and then we can set, say, a pattern for something that's going to be used regularly, which is going to be like the annihilation and formation thing. So if we do that, it will set the pattern and it knows that it needs all of these requirements. We can do that because it's a crafting pattern. So it's the annihilation and what formation? Formation. And what we can then do is go over to our pattern terminal, and can we put these in directly? No. Tool. So that's just how we search for our patterns. There should be another terminal that we can use in order to get the patterns over here. Oh, that's not where they go. Give me them back. And this is going to go. So we want these two back. And then they go. No, that's not where they go either. Where is it I'm thinking that these are meant to go? I could have sworn that they went in there. It's been a while since I used this. Or used it properly anyway. So the pattern terminal should actually show you where you can store the patterns, but is it not the ME interfaces that I need here? Let me figure this out, hold on. I may be wrong with the ME interfaces. Alright, so it was me just being a bit of a numpty. It is the pattern provider, not the interfaces that I needed for this for some reason. I remember that they changed it, because it used to just be the ME interfaces that you used to have to put here. But, excuse me, they're expensive, I want that back. Thank you. So we are going to have to make 12 of the pattern providers. Ugh. And it's the pattern providers that actually hold the patterns. Which makes sense, it's like in the frickin' name, but still. It's a nuisance. We break all of these. Need that back. Which means we're going to need 24 of each of these things. So, pattern provider, formation cores. Need 24. And 24 of these. So expensive. And then 24. Awesome. Is that too many? That is too. Yeah, it is too many. Well, now we've got ready to expand our system. Why was I counting 24? Oh, maybe it was 24 in total. Yeah, it was 20. No, it was 12 in total. And I doubled it for some reason, but nevertheless, we've got the pattern providers. Oh my god. So we've got 12 out of 32 channels. So it's just them pattern providers that actually uses channels. So if we then go to our the pattern terminal, we can actually see where we can put the patterns, which means we can then put the patterns in here. So if we then come over to here, we can then auto-craft them. So if they're using a recipe that's also auto-crafted, they will then auto-craft these. So if we say 10 of them, it will go, so it uses 5 of them available, 5 of them available, 5 of them available to craft 10 of them, and crafting CPU or max or originate, and we could go start, and then it uses that and then it crafts them. So now we've got 10 of them in our thing. So that's pretty much how you do the auto crafting using the AE system. But it's going to be a long time me transferring all of our items up top into these storage cells. I will probably end up having to expand these storage cells also. And what I will also be doing is, first of all, we can now make this our cable on our odds and ends. Interfaces can go in there. Pattern providers can go in there. Cable anchors can go in there. So we've also got these other cables and this, which can also go into this. This is going to be our ME bag. But you can all go into there. Yes. What I'm going to do is spend some time. I need to tear this down, and I also need to pick this up. And oh yeah, before I forget, I need to make another energy acceptor. That right here. So we need another energy acceptor, not the energy cell. One of these. We're missing copper. Going to there. Do one of them. Do that. Do that. Then charged, floored, go into there. You can go into there. And we're going to want this for our spatial storage. So I'm going to spend some time. I'm going to sort of redecorate this room. And then use some of the facades, hopefully glass ones, to cover this. I want to go for like a white sort of laboratory look. These guys can be moved as well. I'm going to have to set up some auto crafting recipes for them. Wow. I did tell you in the last episode that like my entire quest book got reset. So as I'm sort of picking stuff up, it's like re-unlocking stuff. Which is slightly annoying. That would be all of this stuff here. Shut up, phone. Yeah, it's just all the processors because I hadn't picked up the inscribers since. So we've got them. These guys can be... I don't know if you can get the power from the ME system directly to it or not. Like, I don't think you can. But we'll leave them two up there because we need to make processors anyway. We'll probably be automating the processors at some point. I will sort of set up some automation in between this episode and the next episode, but for the time being, I'm just going to work on decorating down there to make it look a little bit more laboratory-esque. But I think in order to do that, we're going to need white concrete and put it into the stonemason to get some sort of laboratory-looking blocks. So yeah, let me do that, and I'll bring you back after it's decorated so you can see the final product. Alright, so after some time sorting this area out, I've closed up the hole and I've just put a single block elevator, which is just over here. If we can shift down there. And then we've got the room just now for the decorators. We've gone for like white laboratory style tiles for the flooring with just a black outline leading to some light sources. A couple of lights in the wall. And then I'm thinking about doing some sort of deep storage using the barrels, because we can make the... Also, I had to make a whole bunch more drives. I got the 4Ks on AutoCraft, and it's because we was using up a lot of the types with very few items. So, like, although that most of the stuff that I've moved is all stackable, it chewed up like through all of this. So, we're only using like half the amount of storage, but because it's maxed out on the amount of types, we're wasting like 8k of storage on each one of them. So I decided just to make a whole ton of 4Ks, and we've got a full drive here with empty 4Ks. But we can make, I think it's like external storage, like a storage bus, ME storage bus. So if we make these, we can actually run a cable from this thing into the barrels and have it do in and out and prioritize putting the items in the barrels. So that way we're using the storage of the barrels, which is, I think it's like 30 something thousand. We've got some maxed out barrels over here, and we can have a quick look to see what the maximum amount of items is that you can actually get in. It is 32,000 items in the aluminium barrels. So I may do that for them, just so we've got some deep freaking ghosts. So we've got some decent deep storage for the stuff that we'll obviously get a lot of. So tough cobbled stone, cobbled deep slate, dirt, grass blocks, netherrack's going to be one, granite, diorite, andesite. All of the ones that you get like a lot of when you're out mining. Rather than it chew up the actual drive space, we can actually have deep storage by having just a whole ton of the storage buses. Usually I would use the storage drawers, but this mod pack hasn't got storage drawers in, so we're just going to have to make do with whatever we have got, and the highest tier of barrel that we can make is the aluminium ones. So I have to see if the actual storage buses do work with them. Can we just make one? We need an interface, which I'm fairly sure we've got some of in here. Thank you. We wanted them. So if we go storage bus, do that, and then let's just grab more cable. So we just want to see if these grass blocks appear inside our storage system. This is just going to be temporary. I'm not keeping the cable like this. If we do that, device is online. And we're looking for grass. Yeah, so it is actually reading it. Have we got exactly 5,000 grass in there? Oh no, we must have 5,000 with the grass that we've actually got in here. That's pretty cool. So we can actually use that system for that, and then when you come to this, you can actually go and set the priority. So forward operations, input out, if we go to priority, and then you can increase, so insertion higher priority first, extraction lower priority first. Yeah, that's correct. So if we say like put these at 20, it's always going to prioritize putting the items into the barrel and taking it out of our storage disks. So it will use the items that are in our storage disks and then prioritize putting items in the barrels. So I'll probably do that for all of these, which means I'm going to have to run its own separate lines. I have done like glass just so you can actually see the cables that go across, which I think is pretty cool. But yeah, I'm going to have to run cables underneath the ground and have them come up behind the wall, because we're going to have a different storage bus for every single one. But it should work, which is the main thing. Let me break all of this. But I think for today's episode, that's probably going to do it. There's a lot of bits and pieces that I want to do in between episodes. One is I'm going to set up a sheep farm nearby, probably up on the side of the castle, not inside, to start generating wool, because we need a lot of wool for the covered cables. So all of these dense cables, they require wool per piece. So we are going to be using a lot of cables, which means we're going to need an absolute butt ton of wool. So that is one thing. The other thing I'm going to be doing is the flawless budding Certus quartz. I have got one marked on my thing somewhere here. Flawless budding Certus quartz here. I found one in one of the asteroids, so what I'm going to do is head on over there. I'm going to dig out a separate room, so I'm going to have like a room with a door just here, and then I'm going to set up a mini farm with the flawless Certus quartz, and I'm going to use these spatial pylons to actually teleport the flawless ones into that room. And then I'm going to have a bunch of crystal growth accelerators. So if we go to growth accelerators, these ones, if I have them dotted around it and powered, it will make the actual budding Certus quartz grow a lot quicker. And then you can actually have a annihilation plane. These guys. Yeah, you can actually enchant it with silk touch, but we probably don't want that. So the ME annihilation plane, this will auto break the crystals as they fully grow, because you could set, well, I think you could set a filter on them for them to break it, so we can automate that completely, so that way we're getting the Certus quartz. And then I'm also going to be linking in a system so we can have the automation of our crushing wheel, our smelter and our plate maker. So I'll need to run cables probably under the ground over to here, to that barrel, this barrel, that barrel, this barrel, that barrel, and this barrel. So it's going to be another 6 lines. So probably one dense cable underneath the floor here, and then have a bunch of the crappy cables running off with import buses for these ones, so that way we can pull items back after the process has been done. And then the interfaces here to then push into the barrels, and we can have crafting recipes for the interfaces. Is my idea anyway. Hopefully that will work. But yeah, nevertheless, before this video goes on any longer, all of that stuff I'm going to do in between this episode and next, so that way you don't have to endure. Next episode, I'm thinking that we've not done any adventuring or battling or build making for the last few episodes. So what I'm thinking is, next episode I want to change my build and my sort of class and playstyle to be, I'm thinking the I would really like just to check out the sort of ice mage stuff, like the frost mage. So we may go for a magic frost mage build. So all through here, and then a bit of arcane spell critical damage all through here, there, 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 to there, to there, as well as to the Cataclysm. That's the main spell move that Cloud's using at the moment, and it's really good, but you can get sort of like a frost powered version of Cataclysm. So I may do that. So it's either going to be like a frost mage build, or I may go for the archer, because I'm getting, like, the tank is fine, but there's very little tactic to it. You just sort of have to increase your survivability as much as you can, and your armor, which is just, you're just standing there taking the brunt of the hits, which is fine for like a tank build, is what they're designed to be. But for playstyle, it does get a little bit boring, especially when it takes you forever to kill anything, because your damage output is so low. So I'm going to see if I can get a decent mage build, but also have some decent survivability with it. So I'm going to tinker around with that probably in next episode and see what we can come up with, and that way we can then go out and fight a mini boss that I found underneath the ground when I was doing some mining, and see just how squidgy we are, or how much damage and how OP we are. So yeah, something to look forward to. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and hopefully I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye bye.